and all those other good joints. It's Kev from Kevin's Corner. Welcome to the show. Okay, tonight is something, Merjigger. I know it's a Wednesday. That's the best I can do for you guys. As far as dates and stuff like that, I'm all blew out because, yeah, I don't keep up with that stuff anymore. Unfortunately, it don't even matter. Now, welcome to the show. Hope you all are having a wonderful week. But before we get into this, let's go through a couple preliminaries. Make sure, number one, that you can hear me. So if you are on YouTube, let me know that you can hear me. And if you're on Facebook, let me know that you can hear me. Check one, check two. Breaker 19. Roger that, roger that. And let's see, kill something here. Kill that light. Yeah, there we go. It's blinding me, man. My eyes ain't what they used to be. I used to have cat eyes, man. I was able to see everything. Yeah. Did you know your eyes will get better if you let your eyes work hard for you? You know, I called myself back in the 90s saying to I think it was Pearl Vision or something like that, they wouldn't replace my glasses. So I got mad and said, you know what? You just lost yourself a customer. I refuse to buy glasses from y'all anymore. And I punished myself for like maybe 6 months, something like that. I could barely see anything. And then all of a sudden, I went back to 20/20 vision. So it worked out somehow. My eyes got better. I was like, wow, that's interesting. But now, since I've been doing this and I've been looking at all these lights and stuff, unfortunately, my eyes kind of got a little worse. So don't think that I'm just being cool with the sunglasses. I really am trying to protect my eyes because these bright lights, along with the computer screen that I look at constantly, it'll wear and tear on them. Yeah, and I don't want to be doing this show like, what? Wait a minute, can you see me? I can't see you all. Are you inside of the internet? I don't want to be like that. Yeah, I want to remain cool. All right. Now, with that being said, we got a lot to talk about tonight. And boy, I'm going to let them have it the best I can. Yeah. Let me roll my sleeves up and everything. Get loose. All right. Now, before we go, check out this number. This number is 330-974-4607. Text MAGA to that number so you can be informed on when I'm going live. Because you never know with these folks. I mean, when it comes down to YouTube, they are playing me big time, y'all. Big time, man. And it's a shame. They're not just doing it to me. They're doing it to others. But the difference between me and some of the others, you know, they didn't catch them early enough. You know, they already at 1 million or so. So it can still compensate for the suppression a little bit. Everything's relative. Don't get me wrong. If I had 1 million or 2 subscribers and they start suppressing my videos, I would probably still be mad with those numbers as well. But when, you know, you're in that lower range and you start seeing them do that stuff and then they messing with your money and all that stuff. Speaking of which, if you want to donate to the channel, just in case they demonetize my live stream, you can do that through my Cash App and my PayPal to ensure that it gets to me immediately without being intercepted by these rascals at YouTube. Now, with that being said, I can't talk too much about them. You never know, they might put a plug on me right away. So we got to be cool. But this is a way y'all can stay in touch with me just in case they do pull the plug on me. So that's 330-974-4607. And just text the word MAGA. Y'all been doing a wonderful job with that. I just accepted or responded to some new ones today and sent out a message to everyone letting them know that we're going live, man. 7:30, be there, be square. So I sent out about 300 messages. I'm wondering where all those people at right now. I don't see all that. I guess they'll come. They'll come. They probably didn't get the notifications. So that's why you got to stay in touch with me so you can just go ahead and base your decisions on my decisions or my messages instead of YouTube. Now, hit that like button, share my videos because that like button sends out notifications as well. So make sure you hit the like button and continue to share. And let's get into this tonight, man. And starting off with such a pleasant little story I ran across. So let's go ahead and get loose first. Oh, America, darn it. Y'all see it. America, have you heard? Like a real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. There's some kings in the building. Gorillas in here, gorilla in here, gorillas in here, gorillas in here. Now, let's get into what we're going to talk about tonight, which I ran across this clip from Benny. I don't know where he found this guy. I might have to mess around on my alternative phone because I don't want to mess around with TikTok too much. But they do be having some pretty great videos on there. I tell you, a lot of stuff comes off of TikTok. I might open up a mysterious account, see, over there because I don't want the Chinese looking into my stuff. Have to get a VPN or something for them. But nonetheless, a lot of good material come off of TikTok, which brings me to this guy right here. Check this dude out right here.
خذها يا ترامب وخلصنا من هالقرف. Trump 2024.
Y'all hear that, man? Trump. Yes, Trump 2024. That man right there is straight up Arab. He didn't even come out with American style clothes on. He's still rocking a full-blown robe with the Make America Great Again hat and plump that big old sign right there in his yard. Now, I wonder if some of these crazy radical liberals are going to go into this man's yard and rip up his sign or even set it on fire like that one stupid dude on the bicycle. If you haven't seen that clip, it's hilarious. Guy riding around on a bicycle and he decides, you know what I'm going to do is take time out of my night and I'm going to go and tear up some Trump signs and then burn one of them. What an idiot. But that just goes to show the lunacy of the radical left. So this man right here comes out and he has a message.
خذها يا ترامب وخلصنا من هالقرف. Trump 2024.
Y'all see that? He even broke that mess down with the dang on it. He said Trump 2024.
This year, take this crooked Biden. He don't know how to walk. He don't know how to talk. Take him out 2024. Let's go, everybody. Arab for Trump.
You hear that, man? He said, crooked Biden. Don't know how to walk. Don't know how to talk. Let's take him out. Trump 2024. Let's go, everybody. I'm feeling him. Now we got the Muslims. We got the Arabs. We got let me see. We got blacks. We got Asians. We got women. We got gays. We got, Jews for Trump. We got all of these different groups for Trump. And now we got the Arabs for Trump too. Right on, brother. Oh, shoot. I wonder what the Democrats are going to do about all of this love we're getting from all of these other races. You know what? They don't care. They don't care. Because, see, remember, just in case you're fooled and deceived to think that they care about minorities, they don't. They only use minorities to divide us so that they can segment out all of these votes. See, why appeal to the masses when you can just break people into little small groups through concoctioned divisive issues? Why appeal to everybody when you can just say, you know what? What does this whole group of people care about mostly? So what if they're gay, they're caring about gay rights. Let's just say everybody hates gay people. That isn't us. And then we don't have to convince them of our policies. We could just come out and say, anybody besides us, if you vote for them, they're going to remove all your rights as a gay person. That right there is the number one thing. What? Okay, well then I don't care about any other policy but that. Same thing with black folks. It's racism. You name it. You go down the line. You'll find that they have picked one sore topic to slap on every group of people who they've divided. And then that kind of gets them away from having to, really convince them of how great their policies are. You know what I'm saying? If it's a whole bunch of women, then hey, sexism, man. Don't forget the politics. Forget your economics. Forget all that. Focus on sexism and women's rights, reproductive issues. If you're black, focus on racism. If you're Jewish, anti-Semitic behaviors out there, they're lurking. All these anti-Semites are out there looking for you. See, that's what they do. That is a part of their strategy. Because God forbid they have to get up there and justify why they have open borders, why they're destroying our economy, why they have us over in Ukraine doing stupid stuff. God forbid they have to justify those things. So instead of doing that, slap some racism on it, sexism on it, and all that good stuff. But this man right here ain't falling for it. And neither am I. And neither are y'all. Let's continue.
Hey, good morning. Do you guys remember this Ukrainian prosecutor was fired while investigating Burisma? Well, he's speaking out now on the alleged corruption within that company and claims its CEO was using the Biden family as protection.
Oh, so now we're going to get into Kevin from Kevin's Corner attempt to prosecute the prosecutors of Donald Trump. See, this is what our Republicans need to be doing. They need to be putting together a story. They need to be putting together all of these clips, all of this information, and going at the heart of these corrupt prosecutors, the corrupt DOJ, the corrupt FBI, all of the stuff that we, who are not lawyers, are able to look at, witness, put together, come to conclusions, do deductive reasoning, all of that stuff that we're able to do. And I'm thinking, Republicans, come out and play, yay! Do something, man. So now I got to do your job. I got to prosecute the prosecutors of Donald Trump. Starting off with Viktor Shokin from Ukraine. Isn't that the guy, the creepy sleepy got fired? And when Joe Biden was questioned about it, I fired that prosecutor because he was corrupt. And then when Donald Trump questioned it, what did they do? Impeachment. So now he's speaking out. Boy, I know they wish he would have choked on a chicken bone in the middle of the night while he was sleeping before he could come out and say this.
Listen to this.
I have no doubt that there were illegal activities engaged in by Burisma. As a matter of fact, the criminal case had been started before me. The founder and CEO of Burisma started bringing in people who could provide protection for him. Hunter Biden was among them.
And Hunter Biden was among them. So he has no doubt that Burisma was a corrupt organization, and then they started bringing in people to protect them. Now, isn't that odd that one of their choices was Hunter Biden? Now, just imagine if Hunter Biden was a legit, upstanding American citizen who abhorred all types of corruption, he would have never been a part of Burisma's board. If Joe Biden was an upstanding American citizen who abhorred all types of corruption, he would have never allowed his crackhead son to join that board. He would have immediately said, son, what are you doing? You can't be on that board. They're corrupt. And I'm over Ukraine. But what did he do? Let his son join the board, right? And then lied about it. Didn't know. Had no idea my son was on the board. But now we're finding out that not only was it corrupt, but then they start bringing in other corrupt people with some power to stop them from being persecuted, or should I say prosecuted, by this upstanding prosecutor. The one that the president of Ukraine on the phone call with Joe Biden was very clear that I'm firing this guy only because you want me to. The man didn't do nothing. He's an upstanding citizen. He's doing his job. But because of you, Joe, I'm going to fire this guy. And I honored my promise to you for them billions of dollars. But where's the media besides Fox showing this and me? You know, why aren't Rachel Madcow and all these people who cheered on the impeachment of Donald Trump over questioning Joe Biden's involvement in Ukraine? They cheered it on. But now here's the prosecutor himself.
And the corruption network expanded as a result.
Viktor Shokin was fired back in 2016, just 1 year after then Vice President Biden traveled to Kyiv and made a speech where he warned about corruption in Ukraine's government.
Let's listen.
He even spoke about this 1 year after leaving the White House as vice president, where he admitted that he warned then Ukrainian President Poroshenko that the Obama administration would withhold critical U.S. aid money if Shokin remained in his position. Listen.
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to the press conference. I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion.
Whoa. Now that's creepy right there. Creating evidence against his own self. That's how dumb he is. Now, did somebody say something about the audio? Can y'all hear me on YouTube? Just want to make sure before I get into too far in. Okay. Now, don't forget, too, during this translation, while Shokin is speaking, he got a translator. So you got to listen to the translator and not his Ukrainian. I don't know what they speak in Ukraine. Audio's fine? Good. Okay. So, now, here's creepy. Actually giving all types of evidence against himself because he didn't think Trump would get in and be able to go after him and this stuff would ever come out. You know, obviously, these people have been operating like this for years and nothing ever happened. So here he is boasting about getting this man fired.
Despite all the evidence mounting up against the Biden family, the president and his 2024 re-election campaign have decided the best way to deal with it is saying absolutely nothing at all.
Crickets? Now, how dare you, creepy? Now, I don't just blame creepy. I blame the fake, phony news. Because if they were doing their job, they would be bombarding this guy with questions about this. They would be saying, Mr. President, we want to know why you haven't addressed this whole Ukraine situation. Mr. President, they should have Jim Acosta up his butt. They should have all of CNN and MSNBC and all these other fake news networks that persecuted Trump over questioning this man's involvement in Ukraine. They should have all of them up this guy's butt. Why did you make us look stupid, Mr. President? We got on TV and defended you, Mr. President. We actually went after Donald Trump on your behalf and said that Donald Trump was lying and trying to attack his political opponents and stuff like that, Mr. President. Could you tell us why you got this man fired and why you allowed your son to be on that board? Can you tell us why all of those bootleg, ragged tee, former Intel community people got out there and said that this looks like all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation? What would you say? I mean, kind of look like Russian dissent. Yeah. Should have been embarrassed to even say something that stupid. But what really hurts me is all of the people who believe that crap. See, this is why they do it. I sat back and watched a whole bunch of people go, phew, that was a close one, man. Yeah, for a minute there, I was thinking that Joe Biden was really corrupt. But thank God the Intel community cleared that up by telling us what it really is. It's Russian disinformation. And they fell for it. I wonder if they're still falling for it to this day. Good grief. All right, here we go.
Here is his campaign chair when asked about the current charges against Hunter. Listen.
Well, the president has said from the beginning that he wanted an independent Justice Department, and we have to just that, so we're not going to comment.
If you guys remember...
Wait a minute. Hold up. That's that man's excuse? So we want it independent when it comes down to you correcting and directing your corrupt behind DOJ to go after folks. Yeah. But when it comes down to your own corruption, you owe the people an explanation. So now their excuses, well, include me. See, we don't want to ever, weigh in on what the Department of Justice is doing. We want it to be completely separated, and that's include me. So I can't talk about my own behavior, my own choices. Yes. No, if you don't know, Joe, who knows? You could clear all of this mess up by just coming out and oh, I'm sorry, you can't talk and your brain is broke. My fault. Oh, man. Yeah, we can't expect this man to come out and answer one question. That's why they don't even seriously ask him these questions when he sits down for a real interview one-on-one with some very friendly networks, and they're sitting there asking him some softball questions. Or they might touch on it a little bit and he said, nothing, didn't do nothing. And they said, thank you. All right, next question. Unreal. And he's the president.
Remember, in 2019, the impeachment of former President Trump was actually based on a question that Trump asked Ukrainian President Zelensky about this Viktor Shokin being fired. So this was a question back in the 2020 election, and I think it'll be one again this 2024 cycle as Republicans keep investigating the Biden family business dealings and all related to it.
Yeah, and not only do Trump want an apology, but I want an apology too. I want them to apologize to me. My feelings hurt, y'all, because they was up there calling us conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat wearers, and stuff like that, and undermining our institutions because we didn't believe that laptop was Russian disinformation. And all of the suppression, all of the censorship that we suffered in multiple areas, not just over this story right here, but don't forget COVID. Don't forget all of that, man. So I want an apology. My feelings all hurt on the inside. And look at this guy. Whippa!
Why were you fired
Here we go.
from your position by President Poroshenko?
I have said repeatedly in my previous interviews that Poroshenko fired me at the insistence of the then Vice President Biden because I was investigating Burisma.
Oh, well. Now we're hearing from the horse's mouth. He was fired because he was investigating Burisma at the command of the vice president at the time. Wow. No questions from Rachel Madcow about this? Nobody? What about over there on fake news CNN? They're not asking anything? Jake Crapper and all of them? What about Anderson Pooper? They're not? What about Big Face Joy Reid? They're not upset about this?
So did President Poroshenko tell you that he wanted you to stay on the job, but there was pressure from Vice President Biden?
You understood me correctly. This is how it was. There were no complaints whatsoever, no problems with how I was performing.
What? No complaints, no problems. However, for whatever reason, Joe Biden, who apparently knows way more about what's going on in Ukraine than the president, of Ukraine. See, I mean, Joe, he knows that this man was corrupt, even though the president of Ukraine said the man wasn't corrupt. See, so you got to question how Joe would know that. And what would make Joe interested in this man in particular? Just the man that so happened to be investigating the company that his son sits on the board of. All the other countries with corrupt prosecutors, corrupt leaders, and he has never made it his mission to withhold money or make some type of demand that they fire those prosecutors. But for whatever reason, they want this guy. Joe wanted him. So now Joe done grew a conscience, I guess. And through osmosis, telekinesis, he's like, I sense that Shokin is corrupt and needs to be removed. That's what happened. Didn't even stop and ask the president, like, is this guy corrupt? The president could have cleared it up. No, he's very good prosecutor. But no, that wasn't good enough for Joe. He wanted him gone.
My job, but because pressure was repeatedly put on President Poroshenko, that is what ended up in him firing.
What are your thoughts when you saw the tape of Vice President Biden speaking to the Council on Foreign Relations, saying you had 6 hours to fire you or you're not going to get the $1 billion?
No. I was pissed off, man. He should be like Chris Tucker. Pissed off, man. I would have been furious. Here's a guy from a whole nother country that should not have his big fat nose in our business and cost this man his job, his reputation, his livelihood. All because you want to protect your crackhead son and the money that you're embezzling out of that country. Unreal.
Not only the position of President Poroshenko, the office of President Poroshenko was humiliated, but the entire country of Ukraine was humiliated. And I developed a very firm understanding of the fact that the vice president was only acting in his own interests.
Ooh, only in his own interest. But I don't know nothing about my son's dealings. Yep. Just so happened to fly my son around the country on Air Force Two when I'm supposed to be conducting business. But hey, why not let Hunter tag along for whatever reason? I'm sure Hunter was excited about going on a tour of Ukraine to see all of the beautiful sights and stuff like that. Same thing in China. Yeah, just so happened. And no questions whatsoever about Hunter's motive of coming. You're telling me you were that disconnected with your own son. Hey, Dad, I want to ride over to China with you. Okay, come on. Didn't say for what? What do you got planned over there? You know, when you get there, I got to have Secret Service kind of follow you around because you are my son. None of that. Just let him tag along. You're telling me that he don't know nothing about his son's businesses, but yet he allowed his son to tag along. And then what, Secret Service got to make the real-time adjustment because Hunter is just walking around randomly and happen to run into, Burisma's leader. Hey, aren't you Hunter Biden? Yeah, yes, I am. I actually am. I was looking for crack. But that's, you got any of that? Well, yes, we have lots of crack. But you come with us. We talk to you about crack and some other dealings. That's what happened. That's what you're telling me. So Joe didn't have any idea what his son was doing over there. Just got there and let him wander around China, let him wander around Ukraine. Got back on the plane. How was your day? It was great, Dad. What'd you do? Got a lot of crack. And you know what? I got a job interview. That's great, Hunter. Let's go head back to the U.S. That's what happened. Oh, boy, I tell you. I got a bridge. That's right, to sell you.
Generally speaking, handled Ukraine like it was his own backyard. He would put people that were suitable for him. He would arrange for them to be put in certain positions.
Why were you looking into Burisma?
The reason I oversaw the Burisma case was because I was the prosecutor general. Burisma was an ordinary case. There wasn't anything particularly different about it. The reason that I was handling it was because it deserved a special mention. It was on a list of cases to merit special attention.
Why?
Because Hunter Biden was involved with Burisma, and of course his father, the vice president, Biden at the time, oversaw Ukraine affairs.
Wow. Now look at that. Now he was over Burisma. We got a lot of corruption in Ukraine. So it wasn't nothing special. I mean, heck, there's so many corrupt joints in Ukraine. It was just another day at the office. But wait a minute. Whoa. Now, this is interesting. What the heck are the Bidens doing involved in this company? That's the question. Now I got to really dig a little deeper and find out what's going on in this funky joint. And it cost him his job, y'all. Now, I just saw somebody in the chat say Filipinos for Trump. We got Native Americans for Trump, y'all. If there's any other group I missed for Trump, let me know, okay? Now, y'all hear that, though? So he's saying that he had to pay special attention to this because of the crackhead. Creepy in the crackhead's involvement in this.
The White House. This is why.
Understood. Do you believe they were up to no good? Were they up to doing something corrupt with Burisma? Was the company of Burisma corrupt?
Good question.
Has been alleged, which since has been disbanded.
I have no doubt that there were illegal activities engaged in by Burisma. As a matter of fact, the criminal case had been started before me. It continued to expand. And Zlochevsky, who at the time held the post of minister and was the founder and CEO of Burisma, started bringing in people who could provide protection for him. Hunter Biden was among them. And
so he hired some goons. He hired some American, raggedy, corrupt, stinking, funky Democrat goons. That's what he did. He said, let me look and see what group of Americans are corrupt and easily bribed. Democrat Party, excellent. Let's see, the crackhead. Let's get creepy in the crackhead. So creepy and the crackhead are the hired goons to protect Burisma from this prosecutor that was fired because I guess the prosecutor was corrupt. Now, this is ironic because, see, the real corruption is the corrupt vice president and his crackhead son that got the actual upstanding prosecutor fired. That's the real corruption. So he lied on this guy like all Democrats do, where they project, and we're going to find out they've been projecting in other areas as well. But he projected the corruption on the virtuous man right here who was doing his job. Projected all of that corruption on him, vomited up like a fly, regurgitating, vomited up all of that corruption on him so that he could continue practicing his corruption. Unreal.
And the corruption network expanded as a result. So, yes, to answer your question, there's no doubt in my mind that Burisma was engaged in illegal activity.
Devin Archer said you were a threat to Burisma. Do you agree?
No. Go ahead.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Why? Because you were going to find out what they were up to?
Well, because he understood, and so did Vice President Biden, that had I continued to oversee the Burisma investigation, we would have found the facts about the corrupt activities that they were engaging in that included both Hunter Biden and Devin Archer.
Look at that photo right there. Look at all of them. Aren't they just all cozy? Look at them. Big old smiles. We got Devin Archer. We got the Ukrainian corrupt person from Burisma that Joe said he had never met and don't know nothing about. And then there's Creepy and the crackhead right there. Right there in the photo. Creepy and the crackhead right there in the photo. Creepy and the crackhead, you know, dang on corporations, incorporated. So now he's saying, out of his own words, that yes, I was on their tail, and that's why they fired me. Okay, now, remember, this is the same story that got Donald Trump impeached. Can you believe this? This is unbelievable. So, once again, we were right. Trump was right. Dang on it. Wait, before I even finish, let me go and get my... Oh, this thing comes in handy. My tinfoil hat always comes in handy, y'all. Boy, I tell you. Thanks, tinfoil hat.
And others.
Do you believe that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden got bribes?
I do not want to deal in unproven facts, but my firm personal conviction is that, yes, this was the case. They were being bribed. The fact that Joe Biden gave away $1 billion in U.S. money in exchange for my dismissal, my firing, isn't that alone a case of corruption?
Yes, it is. I agree with you, Shokin. And if anybody has any type of common sense, you would agree too. These are simple things to put together. Now, I know with current manipulation throughout the media and the Democrats and all of these other folks who somehow are able to make something that is so common sense questionable. And that is simply them doing what corrupt, evil people do. And most of them are lawyers. And all you got to do is create reasonable doubt. And to the average American who don't understand how like psychology works and how this type of manipulation works, you'll sit back and make sense out of something that you shouldn't be able to make sense out of. For example, you got his son over there in Ukraine on a corrupt board of a corrupt company. Then all of a sudden, the guy investigating the corrupt company gets fired by crackhead's father, who's over Ukraine. And he boasts about this on TV. Then you find out the crackhead is making $80,000+ a month from the corrupt company. The fact that the man is involved with a corrupt company making that much money without any type of dang on qualifications should let you know that Joe Biden is behind this all and they're all corrupt. But somehow magically you had people trying to justify this. People who wanted Joe to win so bad, people who wanted to believe Joe was innocent and Trump was so corrupt, they would rather believe the impractical just narrative that Donald Trump was only questioning this because he was trying to stop Joe Biden. He didn't want Joe Biden to win. He was scared to go up against Joe. So he concoctioned all of this, all in efforts not to flush out the corruption of Joe Biden and his crackhead, but to simply stop Joe Biden from beating him. Now, that is harder, if you really look at it, that's harder to believe than the easy stuff. This is easy to believe. It's like laid out perfectly for you. And yet they were able to convince a lot of Americans that Trump was the guilty one. He was the one that was going too far and abusing his power and stuff like that. That's how crazy we are at this point in our country, where people would rather believe the most over the top, narrative than something very simple. Common sense, A, B, C, D. You can't put that together? Make sure none of you are on a jury. That's all I'm saying. If you fail for this crap about Russian disinformation and then also Trump was trying to, please do not get on the jury. If you can't make that connection, let's continue.
Has this damaged America's reputation in Ukraine?
There is no doubt that his actions have damaged the U.S. reputation in Ukraine. It is public knowledge. Everybody knows that it was because of Joe Biden's actions that Russia was able to claim Crimea without firing a single shot.
Whoa, Joe Biden.
Which, of course, eventually led to a full-scale war that is currently underway.
And yet we're still over there right now. All of this we're finding out about what took place, which we all knew, that Joe was all mixed up in all of this stuff. Now, all of a sudden, here we are dropping all kind of billions and dollars in equipment over there in Ukraine. And here we have Rhino Republicans supporting this crap. And, of course, the creepy and his crackhead. All of that involvement over there. And now billions of dollars are going over there. Unaccountable, too. We don't know where those billions are going. We don't know what they're using it for. I mean, it could be some weapons or something, but it could be Zelensky's salary. It could be all of his staff, his salary. It could be a lot of that. We really don't know. And they're like, shut your mouths. Because if you question that, or if you disagree with that, then, basically you're a traitor to your country. See, because we're over there fighting for democracy in another country while we're ripping our democracy or republic to shreds, which we're going to find out that they're doing that in a few seconds. So let's finish hearing Shokin's testimony.
And I do talk about this in my book. I have long been concerned about my personal safety and security. I've already died technically twice, as I was poisoned with mercury.
Whoa! So they tried to poison this man already, of course, because he's a witness. And this is how the deep state and these corrupt folks work. They don't want to leave no witnesses laying around, man. I was telling y'all the other night on my live stream, the reason they are blatantly going after Trump at the point where they do not care if it is obvious that they're corrupt and they're trying to fix this next election and stop Trump. They don't care. They're at that point where they're like, you know what? Right now, it's life or death for us. We got to win. And if we win, whether we cheat or whatever, we don't care. Because what we're going to do after that, if we can stop Trump, because Trump's the only one that can stop us. If he wins, he could literally write away all of these deep state organizations and intel community, or just write them away. Just, all right, you guys dismantled. You can't operate on our soil. And send in some marshals or something to go into all of the facilities and secure them bad boys, lock them down, take away their gadgets so they can't be using that for surveillance and sneaky stuff and listening to phone call, all the crap that the intel community been doing. Get rid of all of that. Snatch that mess away from them. Take their toys, and then they become regular citizens. So shut all those down. He can do it. He could come in day one and shut them all down. No other person would even have the gonads to even do that. See, so if you shut them down, that also has a ripple effect when it comes down to the fake news, because they all work together as well. Fake news is going to be sitting there like, what kind of stories can we come up with? We don't have anybody else giving us tips and leaks and stuff like that. You go in and you clean house, and it will start to trickle down throughout the rest of our society. The intel community, the deep state, they're the ones right now that is really running the darn country, and they need to be gutted out. Take out the legs underneath Joe Biden and all the rest of these corrupt folks if you deal with the intel community, the deep state. So they don't care. And if they win, they're like, now that we got Trump out the way, let's turn our attention towards all of these citizens who didn't believe our lies. Because, see, we're witnesses. Just like Shokin. We're sitting there saying, yeah, man, these folks corrupt. They stole an election, man. Honestly, what? Why am I getting taken off the internet again? Wait, why is the FBI knocking on my door again? Why is that? That stuff will start to happen all throughout our country. And we've been seeing them set the stage for it even before this election is over. They've been trying their best to put everything in place for all of the leftover witnesses. Using J6 as a predicate, using all kind of stupid stuff. If you wear this flag, you're considered an extremist. If you show up at your kids, they ain't going, what do you call those things? The school, the boards. Yeah, school board meetings. You show up there and you disagree with what we're teaching them, then you're radical. You're a domestic terrorist. They're putting that stuff in place to deal with the leftover witnesses who say, we don't have a republic no more. Man, y'all straight up done revealed y'all hand, but whoa, wait a minute. So y'all don't care that we know? In fact, you're coming after us? They would love that. And man, I'm going to tell you, I was thinking to myself, what would happen if they're able to keep Trump off the ballot in multiple states? Because that's what they're working on. They're working hard. They're already dropping the lawsuits. That is why they don't really care whether we know that they're trying to cheat. They don't care about Arabs for Trump. They don't care about all of these groups that's starting to flip and vote for Trump and support Trump, because the numbers don't matter to them. What matters is, can we rig the election? I don't care if Trump gets 1 gazillion votes. If we are the ones who control what number comes up, what number goes out, what's counted, what's not counted, then it doesn't matter how many people vote for Trump or support Trump. And if they're able to somehow get enough corrupt, governors or whatever that will remove him from the ballot, we will be looking at a potential either civil war or a divorce, a national divorce. Because the states that would allow something like that to happen, all I could think of is like the people there that got common sense and feel like they were just abused. They would just say, let me move away from these states. I can't believe our state removed our candidate from the ballot. And then we're left with what? At that point, man, it's like, okay, do we just say, man, let's take all the states with integrity, all the states that supports the Constitution, all the states that actually have voter laws that we adhere to, and just say, man, we're going to form something else, man, because y'all are so corrupt. We can't trust those states for them to do something like they're trying to do. And God forbid, conservative states allow this to happen. They already got a lawsuit down there in Florida. They're trying to do it. And man, if Florida let that happen, They're trying up in Michigan. They're trying all over the place because they know they cannot beat Trump legitimately. And there's so many votes that you can rig. There's only so many. So they're trying to go to the next level of their corruption, which is, so what? We're going to remove him from the ballot and say it's for your own good. We're protecting our democracy. And I don't know what would happen to our country if they did that. We wouldn't have a country no more if they did that. Speaking of which, Republicans, let's see what they got to say about all of this. Since I got to prosecute this whole thing, they ain't doing it.
Will you bring an impeachment inquiry against President Biden this September?
Man, first of all, I don't want to hear nothing about no inquiry. Go straight to impeachment. Jump straight over inquiry. We got enough information to go straight into impeachment. You think the Democrats was trying to do an inquiry? No, they jumped straight into impeachment. Why are we Putin and farting around? But here's the other problem as well. Not only are they going after an inquiry against Joe Biden, but you're leaving out the key people that really makes this whole operation go. You got to go after Ray, which we're going to go ahead and I'm going to bring something up, y'all, in a few minutes. Y'all going to appreciate this. Y'all got to hang in there. But first, hit that like button if you're on the show. Make sure you hit that like button. We got 301 likes and 348 people watching. So we need some more likes. But secondly, you're going after Joe, which, okay, great. But don't forget Garlic. Don't forget Ray. Don't forget Mucus. Anybody who is really the brainchild behind all of this, you got to get them. So, yeah, you're going after Joe with an inquiry and...
Maria, first you've got to understand, only because Republicans took the majority have we found out what President Biden told us when he was running for office is not true. He said,
No. We knew that. We knew that before y'all took power. We all knew that what he was telling them was not true. I mean, granted, we got evidence now, but the sad part about this, even with all of this evidence, they're still running cover for Joe. It got to be so overwhelming that it makes the fake news have to tap out. So we cannot sit back and waste more time with an inquiry. That's going to take time. Then you go into the real impeachment. Then you go through all that. By that time, Joe will be out. He'll be done anyway. So we're wasting time. And that's why I question what the Republicans are doing. At least the so-called ones that are kind of potentially rhinos in disguise. We got the real hardcore ones. It's like, just do it. What are we waiting on? But then we got others that you're going, what? I don't, you haven't come out completely as a full-blown rhino, but you're not aggressive enough. You're not sensing the danger that our country is in. This is not time to be sitting back on, well, just a little longer. We need a little more evidence. We need it. No, this is the time to take the dagger and go straight to the heart. What are they waiting on?
Said he never had any dealings with his son's business, and that he never even talked to him. We now found out not only did he call into the meetings, he went to dinner, and after the dinner, Hunter Biden got a new Porsche. That there was
what now what? You're dropping out all those facts, McCarthy. Yeah, well, now we know this. We've been knowing this forever. So what now what? What I want is some action. Time for some action. Let's get ready to rumble. In this corner, we got the punk body snatchers. I want some action, man.
5 million transferred. We now found out as he was a sitting vice president, the family created 20 shell companies. Now the special prosecutor David Weiss actually let the statute of limitations run out on Hunter Biden's taxes.
And y'all about to let the statutes of limitation run out on this impeachment and all of that mess. While these dudes are running around still in the White House, not answering no questions, going after regular citizens, rigging elections, all of that mess. Y'all are sitting around, now we know this, now we know. So what, now what? You know what? Now what are you going to do with the information, man?
We found that the FBI actually informed Hunter Biden and the inaugural committee prior to our ability to go and interview him.
So what, now what? Why don't your butt then go and start impeaching immediately Christopher Wray? Put that man's back all the way up against the wall. What are you waiting on? Why are you scared to do this? See, this is what kills me. Democrats are fearless when it comes down to going after us. They don't care about how it looks. They don't care about their reputations. They don't care about if it comes out that they're lying or they're hypocrites or whatever. They don't care. They will go after us like they have never left evidence of their own corruption all over the internet. They do not care. They don't even get questioned about all of the times they said this election was rigged. They don't even get questioned about all the times they said Donald Trump should be impeached for that Ukrainian phone call. And then all of a sudden we find out all of this information about Joe. They knew it then. They just didn't care. They're like, yeah, at some point, this all going to come out. But so what? We're Democrats. We can get away with all of this garbage, all of the hypocrisy, all of the corruption. We get away with that mess because when these guys have power, what do? We now know about this and we now know about that. And, thank God we took power because now we know more and this and that. What are you going to do with that information? That's what I want to know. So what? Now what?
We also have a DOJ that tried to give a sweetheart deal to Hunter Biden, and the judge said no.
So what? Now what? Yeah, you got Garlic still up there. I'm now going to appoint a special counsel to the corrupt the investigation that I actually tried to rig the first time. So I'm going to follow up with some additional rigging. That's what he's doing. So thank you for telling us all of this, McCarthy. But I need to know, what are you going to do about it? Why hasn't Garlic already received his impeachment papers? This is what kills me.
So if you look at all the information we've been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry.
So what are your thoughts in terms of what went down? And what about David Weiss being special prosecutor now, special counsel?
Well, to answer your question about David Weiss being special counsel, you just have to look at what he allowed to occur during this investigation.
Oh, wait, this is the David Weiss that was over the Hunter Biden investigation that let statutes of limitation run out and all of that, said he had complete authority, come to find out he didn't. That guy. So y'all get busted not having a real prosecutor look into Donald Trump. The crackhead, rather. Not having a real, complete, independent prosecutor with unlimited restrictions to go after him. You get busted with that. And then what you do is bring that same guy who you restricted and allowed this crap to go on. Now you just come out and say, well, I'm making him a special counsel now. There we go. Same guy who flubbed it up the first time. This is so blatant that it's laughable. And if this wasn't our country, I would be going, wow, these folks are wilding down there in Guatemala, Panama, somewhere like that, over in dang on North Korea, Russia. But instead, this happened in the U.S. Somebody said I'm buffering. Dallas, am I still buffering on YouTube? Somebody talk to me. Come and talk to me. I really want to know your name. Y'all don't know nothing about no Jodeci. You look so sexy. Boy, those were good days. All right, now let's get back to this man calling out how bootleg this new prosecutor that they're going to allow look into Hunter Biden's investigation is.
There are key witnesses we weren't allowed to interview, that we weren't allowed to ask all the questions of certain people we interviewed. People were tipped off that we're...
Somebody said I was buffering a little bit. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire up. Oh, wait. Okay, wait a minute. I already got the Wi-Fi on. I got the Wi-Fi going. So hopefully, somebody said, no problem. I'm okay. Okie dokie. Then let's get it. All right. So my buffer shiner's here. That's a great one. Buffer shiner. Okay. So now here's the whistleblower who came out initially and revealed to us that this whole investigation with Hunter Biden was a sham. Now, this is his reaction to the new sham. So they went with sham 1. Now they come back with shamu 2.
Coming before the day of action. There were enforcement operations to include search warrants where a probable cause was agreed to by the prosecutors that weren't allowed to happen. And then he played his cards, now moving through to his letters to Congress, through Attorney General Garland's testimony in front of Congress, that it is not accurate what they said.
Wow. Now you look at that, guys. All of that overwhelming information and evidence that the FBI is corrupt, and you got Biden's corrupt and Shokin testifying about Biden getting him fired and all of that, FBI covering up stuff. And here we are looking at inquiries and stuff like that. We want to just do an inquiry for impeachment and all of that. And these same folks, while covering up everything for Creepy and the Crackhead and all their own corruption, are going straight to Trump's throat while our Republicans are doing what? I'm just wondering. So now I'm going to have to step in and prosecute the prosecutors. I'm going to show just how corrupt these prosecutors are while we finish up our show tonight. Let's get into this. Prosecuting the prosecutors against Trump.
This is an emergency right now. I'm calling for an emergency special session. I've had senators ask me, what do you do when you have an emergency special session?
Yeah.
First step, Steve, defund Fani Willis.
Get Big Fanny's butt out of here. Somebody go get me a tow truck to get that big butt out of there. Dude. Hook that wagon up and tow her tail right out of town. So that's the first thing. You go after their pockets. Why in the heck are we allowing these people to use our tax dollars to undermine the election? Down in Georgia, man, they're killing me, man. The leaders, the Republican leadership in Georgia, I'm talking about Kemp and right up under him. They're killing me, man. They are killing me. Those two got to go.
Now, these senators, they want to use semantics with their constituents, and they want to say, well, she receives local funding or she receives federal funding. Well, she also receives Georgia state tax dollars, Steve. And my constituents do not want their hard-earned tax dollars funding this type of rogue power.
I wouldn't.
Okay. The second thing we have to do is we have to investigate Fani Willis. They say, well, what would you investigate? What about the fact that the indictment comes out the day before the jury even finishes and concludes?
Now, do you see our sorry Republicans still finding excuses not to investigate? What we playing stupid? What will we investigate? Now, you're supposed to be a politician. You don't have your ear to the street. You haven't been following this enough. You don't have the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to put this together. If you're a Republican politician in Georgia or any other state, and you're not able to see what these people are doing, and you're still slow walking this and still saying, well, let's just take our time and wait about it, you're garbage. Either you don't belong in office because you don't know what the heck is going on. Maybe you're focused on campaign raising money and stuff and all of that mess. But you need to be focused on this stuff, because this stuff right here is the stuff that would destroy our whole country. And yet you're asking questions about what we investigate. I know what we would investigate, and I'm not even a politician. So why are these people trying to pretend like they have no idea what we would investigate?
Right? We need to investigate what coordination she's had with the U.S. Department of Justice.
Thank you.
There are so many things to investigate. What about the fact that half of her inmates at the Fulton County Jail have yet to be charged with a crime?
Oh.
I mean, when the citizens of Fulton County have to start
without being charged with the crime. Now we see how the Democrats work. Half the inmates just sitting up in there cooling. I don't even know why I'm here, man. What about you? No idea either, bro. I'm just up in this mug chilling too. Yeah, they told me something about something. Said I did some stuff, and yeah. But Fanny, Big Fanny, she's running around the country trying to go after Trump, doing interviews and having television crews follow her in to read the indictment charges and stuff like that. Fat Fanny, that's what she's doing. This man right here is a national hero, and yet we got sorry behind Republicans down there not getting on board with this special, not special counsel, but special session.
Paying for this, and not my citizens in Northwest Georgia and across this state, they're going to think twice about what she's doing, because instead of their neighbor getting murdered and their other neighbor getting robbed, and all she's worried about is taking on political prisoners, maybe she'll stop and think about that.
Yes, but they don't have to stop and think about it, because our Republicans are not going on the offense. So maybe they need to listen to what this guy was saying. He gave them some information on why they should be investigating. But I guess they're all just scratching their dome, hoping it all just works out somehow. Or they secretly want to see Trump not make it on that ballot. That's the only other reason why any Republican politician, senator or House member in any state would not be furious about this and doing everything possible to stop these people. I'm talking, y'all should be exhausting every possibility. That's what they should be doing. They should all be huddling up every single day. Number one agenda today is to figure out how to stop these corrupt prosecutors, these corrupt folks in the DOJ, these corrupt folks in the FBI. That should be number one. I don't want to hear nothing about nothing else until they deal with this crap. Now let's move on.
3 questions, Sean. Did you coordinate with the Biden administration, the same administration who's indicted their general election opponent in D.C. and Miami already? Did you coordinate with them? Did you work with Jack Smith?
Of course
Look at the same witnesses. What did any coordination there? And did you use federal funds as part of this investigation? We asked these same questions of Alvin Bragg a few months ago, and he, in fact, did use American tax dollars to go after President Trump in Manhattan. And oh, by the way, Alvin Bragg sued us when we subpoenaed one of those prosecutors up there in Manhattan. He sued us. We went to court, and the court ruled for us. So we're going to be just as aggressive here. We're going to do it within the Constitution, but we're going to do our duty to get the answers the American people deserve for this ridiculous indictment that's taken place in Georgia.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy from Ohio. Now, Jimmy seems to be putting some pressure under that big fat fanny. Somebody need to heat up that fanny. I don't want her getting content sitting her big fanny down without no fire up under her. Put these people on defense. Right now, they have straight been on offense. Whole time. Just like no threat whatsoever. Chasing their opponents while their opponents running with the back. You got to put them on defense. I don't care how small you are. You ever seen that honey badger, man? I love that. He's my favorite animal. Top 3. Honey badger, killer whale, and the silverback gorilla. My favorite 3 animals. That little jive turkey honey badger, he is always on the offense. He don't care how big the obstacle is. He will make it his mission to go pick a fight with bigger animals. And the animals are always taken back by him. Like, what the heck is it? This little dude's coming at me like he's about to gobble me up. He shouldn't be coming at me like this, man. This confidence, where's it coming from? I can't get content. I don't care how small he is. He's putting me on the defense right now. So that's what we need to do, man. Yes, they might have the media. They might have the fake news. They might have all of these corrupt folks. But, yo, we got to work with what we got to work with. Put all of us on one accord, first of all, because our Republicans are divided. And man up and woman up for all of the ones that wavers and don't want to get mixed up in this and, you know, it looks bad on the country. No, what looks bad on the country is y'all letting these Democrats steal another election. That's what looks bad on the country. And you're supposed to be representing the people who voted for you. And then you're setting them up for failure eventually if you allow these people to steal another election. Because what's going to happen is, like I said in the beginning of my show, if they steal this election, they're going to turn their attention right towards the voters that voted these raggedy behind Republicans in. So we're done after that. So Jim, at least he's putting her butt up against the wall and making her have to respond. Because we all know Big Fanny, along with the rest of these prosecutors, all coordinated with the White House.
That I am told, this is hearsay, but I am told by a reliable source that Friday evening, somebody from Washington called the district attorney in Atlanta and said, you have to indict on Monday. We have to cover up all of the mistakes we just made with Weiss. And she said, apparently, my jurors aren't coming back till Tuesday. And they said, you didn't hear me. You have to indict on Monday.
Now, do you think this is just a rumor? Look at the details. See, that's an odd detail to put in a rumor. My jurors aren't coming back until Monday. Yeah, just threw that in there for what? So apparently whoever heard this information or related to Newt Gingrich done heard it. That's probably exactly what happened, but he has to lay his disclaimer that, yeah, just a rumor, but you know it's true.
And she said, well, they're not going to get here before noon. They said, that doesn't matter. She said, this means it's going to be 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I said, it doesn't matter. We need the news media shifting.
Who made that phone call?
We don't know. And I'm telling you up front, this is hearsay, but it's from a person who has remarkably good sources.
I totally believe it, though, because that would explain why they leaked and they messed up on the clerk document, why she was exhausted, and why they...
Now, all of these context clues, they're all making sense. It was a rush job. Just like we just heard that whistleblower talk about this whole debacle with Hunter Biden. So we got the debacle with Hunter Biden. That hit the news, and then all of a sudden... this indictment just came out of nowhere. And it was such a rush job that you got them sending out the indictment and all of that stuff before they even do the press conference. Yeah, they weren't ready. She's sitting there going, all right, I can't get my big fat fanny moving that fast. Whew, man, yeah, well, can we get at least... you didn't hear me. We got to do it now. You understand that? Tomorrow, indict. So it's raggedy. It's rushed. It's bootleg, and Newt Gingrich probably would not be out there even mentioning this if he didn't feel the source was reliable enough.
Had the 11 p.m. press conference, Mr. Speaker.
White House colluded with Jack Smith, the Biden White House, meeting with the special counsel's office.
So wait a minute. We prosecuting those prosecutors, y'all. Remember, the Biden administration has sworn they keep the DOJ and all of that stuff separate from them. They sworn. Joe don't know nothing. He literally finds out all of this stuff going on with Trump the day we do. Same thing, I guess, with, bootleg garlic right there. He don't know. He's not involved in all of this stuff. So whatever Fannie decides to do, he has no idea. He has no idea. Jack Smith, no idea. No idea. Yeah. Even though Jack Smith reports to him. But, he has no idea. All at Bragg, no idea. He wakes up in the morning and says, what? Bragg is bringing charges against Trump? That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, well, I guess Trump did something to deserve it. No idea. Now, do you believe that? Unbelievable. Only thing I could maybe believe is Biden has no idea, because he literally has no idea about anything at this point. But they're protecting him, even though he probably has, thanks for doing stuff for me. I have no idea what you're doing, but thanks for protecting me and my crackhead son.
Not appropriate in any way, shape, or form, because Biden is prosecuting Trump, which is what the special counsel is supposed to be inquiring about. So they should not be connecting in any way, shape, or form, but they did.
Now, we're about to find out that they have been coordinating. So what? Now what? We still got to wait on an inquiry. We still have to sit back and say, well, you know what? We're just going to look into Biden first. And that if they're coordinating, that means they're doing it with the DOJ. Who's over the DOJ? Garlic. Huh? And guess what? We're going to find the FBI is also involved in this as well. Who's over the FBI? Ray. Why aren't these people being brought up to Congress about these things right here?
These two people, according to visitor logs, Caroline Saba and this guy, Jay Brett, not supposed to be hanging out. She's the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for the counsel's office. He works for Jack Smith. These two people met, and maybe they fell in love. We don't know. But here's the story. The visitors logs tell us that they met before the Trump indictment ever came down. Jay Brett, who joined Jack Smith's team in November 2022, shortly after it was formed, after they started the investigation, took a meeting with the White House.
What? Now, you know what I just realized? Democrats are the worst, sloppiest criminals ever. They leave all types of evidence and crumbs behind. And then they got the nerve to accuse Trump of being that sloppy and stupid of a criminal himself just because they operate like that. Joe Biden comes out and says, I had the prosecutor fired. He's a dumb, sloppy criminal. And then have the nerve to say that Trump's this mastermind criminal genius, but yet he openly during a rally pleaded for Putin to help him win the election by finding Hillary Clinton's emails. Do you think Trump would be that dumb? Do you think Trump would be so dumb to involve Carter Page and George Papadopoulos in a Russia collusion scheme? The Democrats operate like this. They leave all kind of evidence because they're so used to getting away with it. So now you would think they would be meeting, cloak and dagger style about this. What do? Go right to the White House. Right to the White House, signing in. Here I go. Nobody's going to question this. Nobody's going to subpoena the logs. And then when the corruption starts coming out, they're like, oh, crap. We probably should have met in a park somewhere with a long overcoat and hood and hat and stuff and some glasses. And I'm talking about that. A code word is fat man sleeps alone. But nope, right to the White House. Now it's all out.
March 31st, 2023, with Caroline Saba, Deputy Chief of Staff for the White House Counsel's Office. This all came out thanks to visitor logs. We know that they were joined at 10 a.m. in the morning by Danielle Ray, an FBI agent from the Washington Field Office.
Hold on. Gizmo! Caesar! The dogs are barking. Do I need to grab my pistolo? Okay. I don't want to have to go to rootin' and tootin' just in case the man is outside my house right now. Talking about we're going to shut that black guy up once and for all. I'm going to have to shut my dogs up once and for all. Hey! Caesar! Gizmo! And they can't fight. That's the funny part. That's their whole job, is just to alarm me. Like, all right, okay, if something's happening, now you go get them. We'll be upstairs under the bed. All right. So let's get back to it. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me make sure. Okay. All right.
9 weeks later, after these little lovebirds all met to plant...
I better check, y'all. Y'all got my back? Y'all got my 6? Hold on. Make sure you got my 6. Just in case. Uh-huh. Hey. No. Cut it out. All right. I think we're good. Might have been a false alarm. Yeah. But I train them well, though. Uh-huh. All right. Whoa. And I'm back. Now that everything's okay downstairs, making sure the dogs, somebody said, classic Kev going on. Hey, when I hear a noise or something in the house, I'd rather go ahead and rush straight in to catch whatever off guard. When I lived in Cincinnati years ago, somebody came in my crib, man. I was standing right there. And all of a sudden, in the midst of talking, the door starts opening. And I put my arm up against the door and blocked that bad boy and went straight in after him. Like, okay, who in the heck is this people? Slammed the door. Then I thought, well, you gotta be quick on the feet too, y'all. See, I immediately said, at the time I was breeding English Mastiffs. I had 7 big old Mastiffs. I released them bad boys out into the perimeter immediately to go ahead and become the first line of defense. I'm sorry, I got totally distracted. I'm talking about strategies. So boom, you block the door. 2, immediately, dogs, go out there and find out what's on the perimeter. Then 3rd, go get the shotgun. Clank, clank, ching, ta-dang. And you go out behind the dogs. The dogs will let you know. Now, they might have to take one for the team. If one of them have to take one for the team, it is what it is, man. But, hey, my life got to go on, okay? Because if it didn't, I wouldn't be here right now. Exposing these Democrats, man. So now, let's get back to this. All right, thanks, Gizmo. Thanks, Caesar, for nothing. All right, now, back to this. So these people were coordinating. Now, remember, guys, they were upset that Trump was asking the Ukrainian president about his political opponent. They were upset that Trump had the nerve to say that Hillary Clinton would be prosecuted if he was president and over the Department of Justice. And now we got proof that the Biden administration is coordinating all of this, and we're still allowing it to go on. This is what burns me up. We're still allowing this to go on. How much information do we need to have before they shut this mess down? Now, are we going to have to do it? Because it sounds like the Republicans ain't. So now I got to prosecute this. It sounds like the people are going to have to get so upset about this that the Republican politicians are going to say, all right, man, we didn't want Trump to win, but man, these folks is getting mad because we're pretending as if we don't know all of this took place. That's what's burning me up right now. They're pretending as if they don't know all of this took place.
And their plot against Trump. Trump was indicted by Jack Smith on June 8, 2023. Brat, the prosecutor, 63 years old, also met with Saba at the White House back in November 2021. Wow. So they're meeting repeatedly about this. And there's supposed to be a big separation here. Joe Biden said that he didn't get involved at all with what Jack Smith was doing because Merrick Garland was handling it and he doesn't talk to them. We all know that that myth has been shattered because of what the DOJ did with Hunter Biden. They say here, Trump was mired in negotiations. They were meeting. The prosecutor going after Trump were meeting with the White House to basically, I would imagine, advise them on how to tell Trump what to do with the National Archives, and they indicted him.
So now, after all of this information, all of these lies, why are the fake news still pretending that these are legitimate prosecutions? Why are they pretending that Trump really has violated all of these laws and stuff? And then these prosecutors are like heroes, squeaky clean. Now, if they would lie about all of this, starting with, I don't know nothing about what's going on in my DOJ, then garlic, I would not be involved in any of all of the prosecutions that take. Then they find out about Hunter Biden and him being involved in that. There's a pattern being formed. These folks are corrupt and lying, but yet the fake news are relying on liars to support this narrative that Trump should be prosecuted. He's been indicted. Look at all of them. It's like 81 indictments and stuff and all of the charges and all of that mess coming from corrupt people who have lied about getting together and coordinating all of this. So now let me get this straight. They've been having secret meetings. Basically, the White House is directing all of these prosecutors how to coordinate an attack against Trump. This all should be gathered up into one big dragnet and thrown in the garbage. That's what should be happening, along with all of the people responsible for this.
Saba, who's not an attorney, left the White House in May to attend law school. So she's not around anymore.
I wonder
After
why.
whatever happened, she decides to abandon ship. Brat had a third meeting in the White House in September 2021, and he also met with Catherine Riley, another advisor to the White House Chief of Staff's office. Okay, that is Joe Biden directly. The logs offer no information about what was discussed at the meeting. Oh, of course not. Critics and legal experts question why Brat was taking the meeting with the White House counsel at all, because he's going investigating his Republican opponent. Rudy raged about this, says there's no legitimate reason for this at all. Counsel for the special counsel's office, Peter Carr, said Brat was there for a case-related interview. No further comment.
Now, every camera, every microphone that gets in any Republican's face, they should be bringing this up. We want to know why that they were coordinating with the White House. Why are all these meetings taking place? Why aren't y'all talking about this? That's my question. Why aren't y'all out here saying these are illegitimate investigations? Because they're coming directly from the DOJ. The White House is directing these people and coordinating these people. We got logs, man. Well, how much more do you need to know that this is an illegitimate investigation? So we got logs that they visited the White House, coordinating all of this mess, and they mysteriously didn't take no notes about the meetings, and I wonder why. Isn't that odd? It's always when they get busted and you say, well, what did you talk about? We don't have the notes. Remember that dis and misinformation board? When they brought Mucus up there to the Capitol and was asking them about how that board got formed? It was an internal decision amongst all of us. What did you talk about? Who came up with the idea? It was a coordinated effort from all of us. So where are the notes? That we do not discuss internal conversation. Why not? How can we hold you accountable? How do y'all even know what you talked about? So somebody should have been taking some notes, unless you purposefully didn't take notes, because what you were talking about is coordinating how to go after and attack Trump.
White House, no further comment. FBI declined to comment. A person with knowledge said that this was an interview of a career official who was also working at the White House during the Trump administration.
So I think that this is a very weak case that's going to die very quickly, at least as far as being prosecuted in Georgia courts. You do have attorneys for Mark Meadows, who is Trump's former chief of staff, who filed a motion a couple of days ago to have a case transferred to federal district court, which they entitled because of a statutory immunity for federal officers, which is the case, obviously, with Mr. Meadows, as well as Mr. Clark, who was a DOJ attorney. So this case does not have, and it's not just, David, a transfer venue to a federal court.
Trump and 18 others charged with racketeering. Racketeering, man. Now, this goes to show how sloppy this was put together. Racketeering. Now, what I'm about to let y'all hear in a few minutes is going to have y'all furious. Because if you want to talk about what real racketeering is, we're about to find out. So now they didn't charge Trump with racketeering. I guess he's Bugsy Malone. I guess he's, Lucky Luciano racketeering. I guess he got some a dice ring going on in the basement and all of that. Knocking off trucks with alcohol on it. Racketeering, man. Unreal.
It is also an immunity to which they're both entitled. And as I've argued for in an article for you a little while ago, President Trump has a constitutionally based immunity based upon the Supreme Court case that's called Nixon versus Fitzgerald, that gives him absolute immunity for all actions done within the outer perimeter of his constitutional duties, even if those actions were unlawful. Wow. So the Fulton County case is not going to.
So then if that is the case, why are they still wasting their time with this? If they know that is the case, why are they still going after him? And then my question is, why aren't the Republicans defending him with more vigor? Every single Republican should be on one accord. So now, this man, according to him, Trump would have absolute immunity. Could it be that even though they know this, they don't care? Even though they know the tides is turning when it comes down to the support for Donald Trump, these folks just don't care because that's not really their end game. All of this is misdirection to build a narrative or some weak theory that there's some clause in the 14th Amendment that miraculously should just be implied. Yeah, it's just self-explanatory that anybody charged with insurrection can't run for president. So now we ain't got to tell everybody why, you know, the stuff that this man is talking about, why that makes sense. We don't have to explain that. We don't have to justify that. We don't have to overcome that obstacle. Yeah, we don't have to overcome the obstacle of having no real proof or no real legitimate proof that Trump believed that he really lost, but he didn't care. He didn't care. All we're going to do is jump inside of Trump's head and tell y'all what we know that Trump was thinking when he got out there and said that the election was stolen. Let his enemies tell y'all what Trump was thinking. That's what the people who's telling everybody that Trump knew he lost and he didn't care and he's spreading this big lie. This is all coming from his enemies. Now, that's crazy. If you know me and you hear 7 people that hate me tell you what they thought I was thinking, the first thing should be in your head is, how would y'all know? I mean, I'm sure you're going to apply your own bias towards what you think Kev was thinking because you hate Kev. So why would I listen to you? But they don't care. They're just relying on people that have a low political IQ to listen to them. And not once question, well, did Trump say that? Did the people who actually know him say that, yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing? So now look at all of these people during back in the day when they were saying Trump is an insurrectionist and he knew he lost. Look at all of this, because we're about to find out if there was a legitimate reason for Trump to believe that he lost the election, or did he know that he won the election and they cheated?
And there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud that would change the outcome of the election.
And there has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud in the 2020 election.
Notice the key word they're using, y'all. Widespread voter fraud. Forget about the little stuff. Forget about the sprinkle here and there. Yeah, widespread.
There's no proof of widespread voter fraud.
President Trump knew the truth. He knew he had lost the election.
Trump wanted to overturn the results despite knowing within days of the election that he had lost.
Despite knowing. Now, how would they know that? You ever think about this? These people are clairvoyant, despite knowing that he lost. Now, these people were dropping all of this stuff out way before these charges and everything dropped and all of that mess. They came right out the blocks. Trump know he lost. He knows it. He don't care, though. He's defiant. Unreal to me. Huh? Wonder why they don't apply the same theory to all the Democrats who got out there talking about, well, we know that this was a rigged election, this and that. They don't just go right into, these people know that they actually lost, but they don't care. They're just getting out their line talking about, people are terrified. That's why we need to overthrow this election.
Donald Trump lost an election. Wow. And knew he lost an election.
Notice the key thing they're all saying, guys, in spite of knowing he lost. Now, why are they all using a specific statement there? Because, see, to really say that Trump is an insurrectionist and a seditionist and all of that stuff, they got to be able to prove that Trump knew he lost and that he's doing this maliciously with intent. They got to be able to prove it. They can't prove it. So what they're trying to do is repeat this over and over again with no proof to convince the public to embrace this, I guess, theory that Trump knew he lost. Now, they know there's no way they can prove it, but if they can create reasonable doubt in the minds of a juror or simple-minded people, they don't have to prove it. They'll just keep repeating it until people believe that Trump knew he lost.
October of 2020, some women brought in some stacks of these registrations in Muskegon, Michigan, into the city clerk's office. We're talking about tens of thousands, we believe. But in that office, the report says 8,000 to 10,000.
But wait a minute, y'all. There's no widespread voter fraud. There's no proof. Right? Now, this is a current story. up in Michigan. But it gets deeper, y'all. That's why I got to prosecute the prosecutors. Look who was involved in this mess. And why aren't the Republicans airing this everywhere? I got a message for Jim Jordan and the rest of them in a second.
And the city clerk noticed that they all had the same handwriting. She contacted the state police.
Yeah.
They started an investigation.
And what happened?
They found the 2 offices locally where they were filling out these registrations. The police said...
So they all had the same handwriting, y'all. All of these registrations, tens of thousands, and they all mysteriously had the same handwriting. Now, what's the odds of that? You would think that would launch a statewide or a national-wide investigation. You would think that, but it didn't. It didn't. I guess nobody was curious about this after these police found this out. Now, this is how people get busted. So it had the same handwriting. I had a buddy who cheated on the ACT test, had his friend go in and they switched papers. And right before it was over, his friend was like, you sign it. And the guy got scared and was like, just sign my name, sign my name. Well, his buddy signed his name. And sure enough, when you see somebody's test go from a whatever number and it jumps 12 points, that sends off an alarm. Just like Joe Biden. All of them dang on ballots. Yeah, you're losing. And then we wake up in the morning and you done jumped all the way up there. You don't think that sparks off some curiosity like how'd that happen, man? Maybe we should look at all of these ballots and stuff. So when they looked at that ACT test and said, okay, on this one he scored a 12, this one he scores a 24. Now let's look at the signatures. Oh, they don't match. This is his signature. This is somebody else's signature. Cheated. Busted him. So now you got thousands of ballots with the same signature. But yet they wouldn't let Trump do an investigation into all of this. They said there's no reason to look into it. Instead, let's go after all of the other people up here in Michigan that's telling on them and saying that, yeah, this is illegitimate.
And raided one of these offices.
Okay.
When they went into these offices, Steve, they found semi-automatic weapons.
Semi-automatic weapons?
They found silencers.
What?
They found bags of these prepaid cash cards. They found burner phones. It's unbelievable, this story.
It is unbelievable. And why is it that the Democrats always rubbing elbows with corruption? So now we got Joe Biden and his crackhead son rubbing elbows with Burisma, corrupt Ukrainian energy company. We got all of them taking money from that little young dude who robbed people of all those billions of dollars. They just make bad choices when it comes down to people that support their causes. So now they done hired some organization that I guess instead of using pens and paper and stuff like that, they go out with guns with silencers. And I thought the Democrats was anti-gun. Yeah, they want to get that brace and everything, but forget the silencers that the people that they hire to go and collect ballots and register people. Forget that. They're all running around with silencers and stuff. But we got to get that brace, though. That brace is really it's the most dangerous thing out there. Here we go.
And we also know that this group had several offices across Michigan. They turned it over to the FBI. And you know what happened, Steve?
What?
This will shock you, but it died. The last update was, I believe, in 2022, and it says that it's still being investigated. So you know what that means, Steve? Nothing's being done.
So you telling me that they found this out, the police turned it over to the FBI, and nothing happened? Don't worry about it, we'll look into it. Just like that laptop that they had for a year and didn't do nothing. Just like Tony Bobulinski sat back and came out and gave a testimony about what Biden was up to, and they didn't do nothing. Just like that information and that audio tape of Biden on the phone with somebody in Ukraine, and they didn't do nothing. So now you're telling me this voter fraud was given to the FBI and they did nothing about it. Now, here's my question and message to Jim Jordan, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, all of the real Republicans up there in Congress. Y'all need to have an immediate emergency meeting and bring in Christopher Wray and bring in Merrick Garland and bring in all of this information that I'm going over right now on this video and the clip that I'm about to show, bring all of them in. Subpoena all of this information about this case up in Michigan, this group that has money, burner phones, guns, silencers, and all the same signature. Y'all need to subpoena them immediately. Y'all need to bring in Christopher Wray and say, what's going on with this case and why didn't you let everybody know about it? Why aren't y'all investigating this case? Is it that you don't want everybody to know that there is widespread voter fraud? Because the media spent all of their lives on telling us there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud anywhere. But now that we got the evidence, the FBI is slow walking it. Why is that? Tell me why Christopher Wray's butt isn't testifying about this. Why isn't this information being brought up on the Capitol? Nobody? See, so if the media ain't going to do it, then where are the Republicans? Get this information from Michigan, bring it up to the Capitol and drag Garlic and drag Wray in. And how about instead of inquiries, you start impeachment on these two dudes? Now, it doesn't just stop with this. Listen to this, y'all.
They have done nothing with this, just like Hunter's laptop that goes to the FBI and then disappears.
Wray.
So this is just another instance that shows that our FBI is against the people of this country and they're participating in stealing the elections. I think we
shut it down. Don't tell me you can salvage that organization. Shut it down. Could no longer be trusted. I don't care about a revamp. Shut it down. You go through and you take the ones that are legit and you disperse them out to the states and let them work for the state. But don't be having no centralized investigation organization that grows that big to where these folks are sitting on information that can exonerate Donald Trump and all of us who knew that this election was bootleg. But yet they're going to allow the media and the fake Democrats to keep pushing this narrative that there's no evidence of voter fraud. Donald Trump knew that he lost and all of this stuff. And you got evidence like this. Unreal. Just like they knew that that laptop was real. And they let all these people believe that it was Russian disinformation.
Found the culprits here. They were filling out registrations. This is, they need these bloated voter rolls in order to cheat and steal.
Yes.
And I believe that. That's
Yes.
Something I firmly believe.
No,
That's what we've been.
it's the predicate. When you get the mail-in, the phony ballot harvesting, the mail-in ballots, the predicate, you got to get the phony registrations. That's
what this company was doing, going and getting folks to register to vote, so then they could follow up with the phony ballots as well, and just don't worry about the down ballot votes. Just top ballot votes for Joe Biden mysteriously come in the middle of the night with the same signatures and stuff like that. Now, that's bootleg because most people vote down ballot. So you're telling me then that, Joe Biden, but the rest of it's blank? Rest of it's blank. Does that make any sense? No. Same thing whenever we would lose an election. How in the world did Brian Kemp win as the governor? But yet you have, what was his name? The running back. Slipping my mind. Somebody tell me what his name is. I can't think of it right now because I'm in the zone right now. But anyway, how did he lose to Warnock with that big fat nose? Herschel Walker, thank you. How did he lose? How in the world are Republican, governors would win and then all of a sudden you go down ballot and you say, now, wait a minute. So these folks won and yet you have Herschel Walker lose or somebody else lose. How is that? Conservatives vote down ballot. So there should never be a reason that one person would win big time in the state. If it's a statewide election, one person will win, and then you go down ballot and you see that one of the senators lost. It's a statewide, race. It ain't one of those, it's localized. There's no way. But yet, they don't even need to explain these things to us. Doesn't make sense, but hey, don't ask questions about it.
So they're doing in the college towns, that's what they did in Nevada. That's what they did in Pennsylvania. That's what they've done.
Right.
That is a predicate that has to be done.
This is an organization, GBI Strategies. It's a registration organization funded by Democrats.
This organization funded by Democrats, and they ain't just been doing it in in Michigan? So wait a minute. When we wanted to open up a full-fledged investigation into voter fraud, and they all said, no need to do that. We're not going to let you do. So you're telling me now that we have a legitimate reason to open this up? So this whole accusation that Trump, he knew that he lost, but he didn't care. Now, if they want to go to war, then we should just open up the can. Shouldn't we go ahead and look into all of this agency right here? So this agency was operating not just in Michigan, but in other states as well. I'm sure that they were operating with integrity in all the other states. I'm sure that's what it was. They didn't use the template and format in Michigan and all the other states that they were operating in. I'm sure that's what it is, right?
This single organization, GBI Strategies, was operating in 20 different states.
20 different states. And probably duplicating the same strategy in every single state. So y'all want to go to war? You want to go ahead and prosecute Trump? You want to go ahead and talk about some, that Trump knew he lost. There's no evidence of, widespread voter fraud. So now this organization, the one that was found with all the ballots and the same signatures and bringing in all that stuff and got busted in Michigan, the one that whomever is running that location, guns and burner phones and stuff, were operating in 20 other states. I'm sure they were doing it with integrity there, though.
Imagine how many millions of potential fraudulent ballots alone came from this organization.
We also know that this same group and its GBI Strategies had offices in other swing states.
Black
PAC, this organization that funds Democrat causes. It says it's Black PAC. It's actually
so they had this black dude over this organization, and they called it Black PAC. But like always, they use black people to, do a lot of their corruption as the face, so that this way, you can't criticize them because it's black people and stuff, even though they did lock the black dude up that's over, Blacks for Trump, locked him up and all that stuff. And the Proud Boys leader, who's black or Puerto Rican or whatever, Latino, he's locked up and all that. I mean, those type of blacks don't work. Okay, see, you got to lock them up. But this black person who was over, I guess, this organization, Black PAC, and the irony is that they're being funded by all white liberals. All white liberals. Use the black man just in case he comes under any type of heat. Plus, the black man could go into the hood, I guess, and, get a whole bunch of folks that might not even register. Hey, bro, come here. Let me holler at you, man. Yeah, you register? Nah, man, I ain't on that. Dude, just register, man. You just write something down. I mean, yeah. And then all of a sudden, they got all these registrations, and then miraculously, they got all these ballots with the same signatures on it.
Funded by white liberals. They donated, according to the FEC, $11 million in 2020 to GBI Strategies. That's a whole lot of money for people going out and creating a whole lot of registrations, Steve.
Now, GBI Strategies.
What? A whole lot of registrations. And a whole lot of $11 million. We're about to find out all the people who donated to Black PAC. And having them in 20 different states. We need to investigate this Black PAC. We need to bring this dude who's over Black PAC in and ask him about all of these ballots that have the same signature. How are you registering all of these people? Why did you have all those guns?
Has also been paid directly by the DNC.
The DNC?
And of course, the Joe Biden presidential.
Look at that. Black PAC done got paid by the DNC and by the Biden for President organization, $450,000. Wow. Those Democrats sure do know how to link themselves with corrupt people because they need corrupt people because they're corrupt. You can't go out and get a legitimate organization to help you if you're corrupt. So they go and find Black PAC or whoever this guy is that's running Black PAC and drop all of that money into him.
And of course, the Joe Biden presidential campaign.
Well, wait a minute. Let's see how much the DNC dropped into him.
By the DNC.
Wow. The DNC dropped $4,691,623 into Black PAC and all their corrupt ballots. Interesting.
And of course,
the Joe Biden presidential campaign. Now, a few so-called fact-check sites have attempted to cast doubt on the legitimacy of this story, but
of course they would, because they just got out there and told us that this was the most secure election of all times, and Donald Trump knows that he lost and he is lying and all of that stuff, and Joe Biden is the most popular president that received 81 million votes. That's what they told us.
But this reporting by the Gateway Pundit has just been confirmed by a left-wing newspaper in Michigan called the Detroit News. The Detroit News reached out to the office of the radically left attorney general there in Michigan.
And what did that radically left attorney general say? I'm sure they said, these are all unfounded rumors. This is not true. This was the most secure, legitimate election of all time. Or did they get busted beyond the ability to lie?
And her press secretary confirmed the fraudulent 8,000 to 10,000 voter registration applications. So we've got solid physical evidence of election fraud on a major scale in Michigan. And the organization that has committed this election fraud operates in 20 states. Again, the left keeps insisting that we have no evidence of, quote, widespread election fraud. Well, here it is.
Here it is. Here it is. So where are you, Jim Jordan? Where are the Republicans? This voter fraud in Michigan by this Black PAC organization that operates in 20 other states, and they want us to believe that this was a legit election. That's what they want us to believe. Yeah, Trump has no reason to question it, and neither do we, right? We're all believing the big lie. That's what we're all doing, believing the big lie. Now, I need to see this story go viral. Reagan right here, he got those clips put together, and he mentioned the same thing. The reason that they're not investigating this or putting the pressure is because not enough people know about this and aren't telling their congressmen or whoever. So y'all need to look into this. This could exonerate Trump immediately. This right here shows that we have legitimate reason to question these elections. Even the attorney general couldn't lie about it. They sitting there going, oh, yeah, y'all got us on that one. Those are 8 to 10,000 fake phony ballots. So if they can't even lie about this, and this is a legitimate story proven, then what the heck are our Republicans doing? How about they bring Christopher Wray up, who got this story and refused to allow the FBI to look into this. Bring him up to Congress immediately, like tomorrow. I'm gonna isolate this clip just in case Jim Jordan and the rest of them in all these committees don't know about this. I'm amazed if they did know about it, but good grief. You got this going on right here, and they're not bringing folks in to be accountable for this? They're just gonna let the voter fraud take place again, I guess. And the FBI knew about it and ain't done nothing about it. Ray needs to get this slapped in his face and ask him, why aren't you looking into this? Or could it be that you don't want to look into it? In fact, they're going to probably let the statutes of limitations run out.
This guy, Gary Bell, is clearly one of the DNC's top henchmen for voter fraud. The question, of course, is how extensive was the voter fraud conducted by GBI Strategies and Gary Bell? But I think an even more critical question is how many other Gary Bells are out there? Yeah. How many other election fraud operations has the DNC and the Biden campaign funded directly or indirectly? A sincere investigation by an even halfway decent investigative organization would uncover all of this. But no such investigation has occurred. No one has even been arrested for this. Now, as I mentioned before, this election fraud investigation was turned over to the FBI.
What?
The FBI, creating fake crimes and burying real ones since 1908.
Since 1908 and still at it. The FBI got this information and did nothing with it. Now, isn't that ironic? Why is it that we have to find out about all of this evidence that they had way prior to us finding out, and for whatever reason didn't decide to act on any of it? But of course, they're willing to bust down doors of fathers and families and stuff like that, and old people. They were too busy tracking down grandmas up there from the Capitol. All of that stuff. Those people went up there on J6 because of crap like this. us seeing all of this crap and y'all trying to lie to us and gaslight us and saying this was the most fair and free election of all times. And if you don't believe it, you're an insurrectionist and you are a traitor to your country. And Donald Trump right here just don't know how to take a loss. That's why all those people went up there in the first place. Unbelievable.
So, Ben, I'd love to get the sort of boots on the ground perspective of what happened when you went to the city clerk's office. I'm reading the quote now. She told you, "I can't talk. I've been instructed not to talk about this."
So the clerk who discovered all of this, they went and asked her about what's up with this. And she said, "I can't talk. I've been instructed not to talk." By who, guys? Who? Who could it be?
You think the cover-up goes all the way up to the FBI?
Even the clerk even let us know that it was the FBI that was really stopping all of this.
Ray, Raggedy Ray, why aren't y'all impeaching this man right now? Jordan, what are y'all doing? I need y'all to start impeaching. Marjorie Taylor Greene came out the other day and said, man, look, we would love to do this. I launched impeachment papers up front, but we got sorry behind Republicans who just aren't on board with it. I cannot believe it. They need to go through, do a hearing, show all this information and evidence, and then take a vote. Based on all of this, y'all are still talking about Donald Trump. He made us all look bad and you know, he deserves what he gets. And this is a legitimate prosecution. And that was the big lie. He knew he lost. I wish I would hear a Republican parrot these lies coming from the deep state and the fake news in the Democrat Party. I wish I would. And if y'all are in a state where you got a raggedy congressman or woman up there parroting that garbage, they need to go as well. It's unreal to me that we got this evidence sitting there, gold mine, and nothing's happening. They're not getting this out to the public. They're not bringing folks in to question them about this. The folks who could have looked into this didn't even look into it. FBI. In fact, they told this woman, don't talk about it.
Wow. You know, we camped out in front of her office and told her we would be willing to meet whenever she wanted to. And she kept repeating that she couldn't talk, but she let us know that, you know, the reason she couldn't talk was because she didn't have any of the ballots anymore.
Oh, they took
and then she'd been instructed not to talk by what she called higher law enforcement authorities. And we said, well, is it the FBI? And she let us know that it was. And we went down to the police department. And the police, the clerk and the police here did the right thing. You know, they saw these fraudulent ballot applications. Yeah. They reported it. You know, they deserve a lot of credit for doing the right thing here. I think there are a lot of other clerks who did not do the right thing in Michigan. And the police investigated this. And when they came out to speak with us, they made no bones about it, that it was the FBI that was stonewalling all of this.
Oh, no wonder the Democrats want to federalize the police department. No wonder they demonize all the local police, because they don't want these local police standing in the way of their corrupt FBI that they're using as their own personal Gestapo. So the local police that they all say is all racist and white nationalistic and all of that stuff, the local police bust this and say, yo, we're going to go up the chain of command because the FBI is supposed to look into this stuff. Here you go. FBI, thanks. We'll put it in a shelf somewhere. And now all of these cops are going, yeah, we gave it to them and they're slow walking it. They're stonewalling it. Now, I know how the local police feel about the FBI right now. There's a guy when I was able to go salsa dancing, police officer, he's a guard. There's a couple of them at the place that I was going to. And we'd talk all the time. And he was like, man, our FBI is horrible. They're blew out. We all know that they're corrupt. All of them. The local cops know that the FBI are corrupt. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Now, I'm sad for all the legitimate FBI agents. I really am. But, man, leave that organization, man. Bust this mess all the way up and absorb the good ones into some other localized organizations. Because the FBI as a whole is blew out. So they have that information and didn't do nothing with it.
And stopping any investigation. And they even confided in us that, you know, they can't get answers either. You know, they want to move this investigation forward. And I think they have more than enough to indict or prosecute these people, but they're being stopped by, you know, higher law enforcement officials. You know, and it's been this way for 3 years. the statute of limitations on this is 5 years.
Oh.
So I think they're just waiting. They're waiting it out, and we'll see the end of this in 2 years, and it won't matter. No, there won't be any prosecutions.
But yet they're going after all of those people up in Michigan that, was like, this was an illegitimate thing. I'm not going to go ahead and certify this election. They're going after all of them. Yeah, they're using their corrupt positions in these cities and states to go after the legitimate people that was involved in the elections, while they're overlooking all of these corrupt actors. So the statute of limitation, just like they were trying to make it run out with Hunter Biden, is 5 years. What are the Republicans doing? Do we have time to waste? Y'all gonna let them get away with this? Come on now, Jim. Somebody need to go after these people. Don't let them get away with this crap. And the FBI should be ashamed of it. No, Christopher Wray should be shaming himself and Mayor Garlick.
A sincere investigation into this case in Michigan may expose enough voter fraud to overturn the entire 2020 presidential election. And no one is looking into it. No one is reporting about this. I don't get it. The only ones being investigated for election fraud in Michigan are conservatives, Trump supporters. A town clerk by the name of Stephanie Scott is being targeted. 16 Republicans that are being called fake electors are being targeted, including a town mayor and the chair of the GOP in Michigan. This is all, of course, nonsense drummed up by corrupt Democrats trying to punish and intimidate honest conservatives. But when we find physical evidence of real election fraud, nothing. It just disappears. Swept under the rug.
Swept under the rug, y'all, by our own FBI. Once again, still meddling in our elections, whether it is passively or aggressively. So now, by not investigating that case, they're passively interfering in our elections. They know that that investigation would show that Trump had a legitimate reason to feel like the election was stolen. So they're like, we're not even going to look into that. Now, if I'm Trump's defense, I'm going straight to Michigan and get that information. That's what I'm doing. Trump, if you're listening to me, send your defense, counsel up there to get this information. Y'all need to subpoena. Okay, we'd like to bring in Christopher Wray, who received this information and didn't do nothing with it. We'd like to subpoena the head of the DNC that donated to this corrupt organization. Why? What, did you vet the organization? Did you vet? Yeah, you vetted them, all right. The vetting was, are you corrupt? Are you willing to be evil enough to pull this off? Are you willing to sign all kind of ballots for us? You're willing to do that? We'll make it worth your while. We'll make it worth your while. Matter of fact, can you duplicate this in 20 other states? But yet we're supposed to believe this was the most fair and free election of all time. Let's hear from Donald Trump.
Persecuted man in, I believe, American history.
He is.
The former president of the United States, President Donald Trump.
Probably right about that. Sadly, the most persecuted.
Yeah, you are.
I've never heard it put quite as succinctly, but it's probably true.
So let me ask you, you've seen the deep state. We now all know what you saw was true and deeper than I think any of us knew. They've weaponized everything. They are serious about trying to put you in prison. Can I ask, will you and can you run a campaign from a jail cell?
Well, I don't think that's ever happening. We have a great case. Every case is a scam. This is just like Russia. Remember, I was going to be guilty with Russia. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, with 18 radical Democrats and Bob Mueller, the Mueller report said there was no collusion. Everyone had a heart attack. And
you would think they would learn, but they don't care. They just move to the next one. Russia. Now, one thing I don't know is if they are able to remove Trump from the ballot in certain states, could those people in that state just simply write him in? And if they do, would those ballots ever even be counted? See, this is the stuff that I'm saying. If the Republicans have not dealt with the voter fraud in these cities, in these states, then the problems still exist. You think if people start writing in Trump, you think whoever are in those corrupt areas are going to say, well, let's count this one? They would take that anyway and throw it somewhere. See, so they're pushing our backs up against the wall, especially with this new push to get him removed from the ballots in certain states.
And then they started Ukraine. Then they started lying on Pfizer reports.
All of that.
These are bad people. These are sick people. And now we're.
I don't know how you do it every day. I really don't. I would have lost my mind a long time ago.
Yeah.
You said in 2016, lock her up, and then when you became president, you said we don't do that in America. That's just not the right thing to do.
Yeah, but let's see if his attitude has changed about that since the Democrats done laid out some new rules of engagement, y'all. Because y'all gonna make him lose his mind up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make him act a fool up in here, up in here.
That's what they're doing. Do you regret not locking her up? And if you're president again, will you lock people up?
Well, I'll give you an example. The answer is you have no choice because they're doing it.
Yes, they're doing
I always
it to
had
us.
such great respect for the office of the president, the presidency. And but the office of the president, and I never hit Biden as hard as I could have. And
Yeah, because he would have shattered his old brittle bones, him and Crooked. So their butts got let off the hook when they should have been completely gutted. Let off the hook. And this is how they return the favor. See, they went ahead and attacked Trump early, talking about he's going to go get in there and he's going to launch this investigation against his political enemies and he's going to use the office of the presidency as a weapon, knowing that that's what they really wanted to do. But they knew that if they throw that out there ahead of time, that Trump would do it, it might make him back off, especially considering it was so controversial and I had so many Americans convinced to believe all of this garbage. They knew he probably would take the route of civility, try to bring the country together and show them that he's not the big bad wolf that they all, deemed him to be. And then when they switch power, it's like, now we're going to go ahead and show y'all who the real big bad wolf is. But now it's too late. Y'all done went ahead and acted a fool. So when he gets in, he needs to huff and he needs to puff and blow all of their houses down. Every one of them. Fire everything, Trump.
then I heard he was trying to indict me, and it was him that was doing it. You know, I don't think he's sharp enough to think about much, but he was there, and he was probably the one giving the order. But he was, hard to believe that he even thinks about that because he's gone. But
he's gone.
Then I said, well, they're actually trying to indict me because every one of these indictments is him, including Bragg. Bragg put his top people, I don't know if you know this, he put his top person into the office of the Manhattan District Attorney. What? They've been in total coordination with Fannie Willis. The woman that I never met that they accused me of rape, that's being run by a Democrat operative and paid for by the Democrat Party.
Wow. They got money to blow. That's what I will say. You got a lot of rich liberal Democrats or whomever that are so hell-bent on stopping Trump that they give money to all these bootleg prosecutions and investigations and stuff like that, just to protect their own investment, perhaps. Soros, definitely he's in there. They fund a lot of this garbage so that instead of, trying to win elections legitimately, they do all of this just to cheat. Now, you would think if they invested all of this money into, having a good, decent, upstanding campaign and coming up with good policies and good results in their cities that they run and states that they run, they might have a shot. But no, why do the hard leg work? Let's go ahead and spend all the money cheating.
So many of these things, I have a couple of other lawsuits, all funded against me by the Democrat. These are sick people. These are evil people. And it's an amazing thing. We talk about the public. The public is smarter than anyone can imagine because they understand what's happening. I'm like, it's really actually true. I was doing very well before this stuff, but it's really driven my poll numbers up. And you look at these, that basically they're saying, I don't have a right to challenge an election. And I did something, and I have to get it to you immediately yesterday.
What is it?
We put in all of the Democrats over the last 15, 20 years. That
I showed this.
And this tape, the problem is it would go on for 2 hours.
2 hours. He's talking about that montage of Democrats. This election was stolen. This is unfair. They cheated. That montage that I also showed on my show a couple weeks back. And I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute. Where are all the prosecutors going after them? All of those Democrat insurrectionists that were out there saying the elections were stolen, where were they? Where's all of it? Where's Alvin Bragg and where's Big Fat Fanny? What about Jack in the Box? None of them? Nobody's. See, and this is where I say that Republicans got to learn to play dirty. Democrats set these bootleg rules. Now, my question becomes, what's stopping all of these Republican prosecutors across our country, state prosecutors, from opening up investigations into every one of these people on video that is saying the election was stolen, including Crooked Hillary, including Nasty Pelosi? All of them need to be brought up on the same charges that they're trying to concoction against Trump. But it seems like we just don't have gonads. Makes me mad that I didn't go into law. Boy, this would be a great time for me to be a state prosecutor, because I would open up investigations against everyone in that darn montage that went on for God knows how long, like 12 minutes straight of all of them talking about this election here was stolen, it was rigged, and we should have been Stacey Abrams should have been the governor of Georgia, including Kamala Chameleon Harris, who said that, all of them. And yet they'll get out there to this day and say Trump knew that he lost the election, and he's just out there spreading the big lie. And don't even have to worry about the big lies that they have left all over the internet, down throughout the years. That's a part of their strategy to come out after every lost election and claim that it was stolen. That just is baked into the cake with the Democrats.
Yeah. We have 25 minutes of it.
25 minutes of it.
Crazy.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But we have it, and we've played it. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's
incredible. It doesn't stop.
No.
I mean, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going. And much nastier. I mean, I'm like a kind person by comparison. They're calling for death. Maxine Waters is crazy.
That's right. Mad Max, baby. Peach 45. If you see anybody, and I mean anybody, at a grocery store, at a gas station, that's how they contest elections. Yeah. They don't just say, well, I just believe it was unfair and I think that I won. No, they talk about going to the streets and people should be outraged and maybe there'll be uprisings all over the country. Who knows? That's how they contest them.
Crazy lunatic. A lot of them are unbelievable, and nobody talks about them. Hillary Clinton, who called up and conceded the night of the election, and a week later she started saying that she won the election. Not that she said, I didn't win, you know, it's all done. And then she made up the Russia hoax, and then after 2 years...
And still running around free. No indictment. Not only did she deny the election, but then she tried to cheat afterwards by coming up with a fake Russia collusion hoax that drove our country into a full-blown investigation for 2.5 years, and still haven't recovered from all of that lies and garbage that they spread it. And she's still free. She's on Rachel Madcow's chastising America for their decisions to support Trump and all of that.
I won that, and then they go into Ukraine. No, these are sick people.
I know.
But the public gets it. They get it.
We have so many problems.
The public gets it, and that's the problem that they're having right now. That's why we got all the censorship. That's why we got all the persecution. That's why they're locking up black folks that support Trump, like that one guy over the Blacks for Trump organization. That's why they're doing it. See? That's why the FBI is not allowing this investigation to go on concerning those ballots. They see that the public gets it. So once again, I have to emphasize this to everyone, that regardless of the growing support for Trump, it's obvious that these people do not care about that. That is not what they're hitching their wagon to. They're beyond trying to win over people to support them legitimately. They're in the mode of, we have to cheat to beat. That is it. So I don't care if like 90% of the country wants to vote for Trump. We want to eliminate their ability to vote for Trump.
Feel like the republic is over. A lot of people look at what's going on and say, this can't last. Can you give people hope that change can happen and you can bring things back, a republic and an economy?
So, Glenn, I can. Look, we had this running until COVID, 2.5 years. It was the greatest economy in the history of the world. Everybody was happy. African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, women, men, people with diplomas from MIT and people with no diplomas from high school. Everybody was happy. And frankly, I was getting calls from people on the left and even the radical left, get together. This country was coming together. Then we got hit with COVID. We did a great job with COVID. has never been acknowledged, but it will be in history. We did a great job with the ventilators and all the things we did, because nobody knew what it was. Nobody had any clue as to what it was. And we did a great job. And when we handed it back over after a terrible, terrible election, I mean, they used COVID, they cheated. Even if you just go by what they did with legislators and legislatures, what they did with the consent decree in Georgia.
Now, Trump is making his case of why he sincerely believes that he won. And yet they're sitting back telling us, no. All of the stuff I done showed throughout my whole show tonight, all of the evidence to show how corrupt these people were, all of the cheating, all of that mess. Yeah, no. Y'all don't have a legitimate reason to feel like there was something wrong with that election. We'll tell you what Trump really is thinking. What he's thinking is that I know I lost the election, but I just can't live with the loss, so therefore I'm going to steal it. Do you really think that after he's laying all of this out, we get the mysterious COVID that dropped in? And I know Trump sometimes takes some criticism concerning, how he handled it. But shoot, that right there was even though soon as it dropped, I knew what it was. I'm like, this ain't no organic disease is just unfloated in, a virus. No. This right here is being used. That's what it's being used for. It's being used so that these folks can manipulate the election. And then catching Trump off balance, not to mention there were people in his organization that, like Fauci, who he had to rely on. He's not an epidemiologist. So he did the best he could with trying to make people feel like there was options in regards to vaccines. He approved them and all of these things. How would he know that these folks would use this vaccine like they did? How would he know that these vaccines would be, put it this way, questionable to the health of so many Americans? But he wasn't the one that said you either get it or you lose your job. He wasn't the one that said keep our country locked down, keep our kids out of school. He gave them 2 weeks. Then they took advantage of that, and all these rogue Democrat states went off the rails when it come down to that. So I give Trump a lot of slack when it comes down to that whole situation. A lot of people try to say, well, he didn't handle it correctly. Well, I can't say that I would have handled it any differently. When you give me 3 months before an election and you get this virus that just drops out of nowhere and people going crazy and they're swearing up and down everybody's about to die, and you got your own guy, Fauci, who you're still kind of figuring out, is this dude legit or not? Only to find out that he was a funky, nasty, stinking, dirty rat that also needs to be prosecuted. So now Trump's talking about how great life was prior to all of that garbage and how we need to make a change back to what it was.
Georgia, the signing of that consent decree was by Raffensperger and the governor. The signing of that consent decree was the end of Georgia. That was the beginning of the end. And then when Doug Collins didn't get in, instead of picking, you would have had Purdue, you would have had Collins. It would have been like a
Doug Collins.
But if you look at those things,
it was so badly hurt. But the signing of that consent decree, and frankly, going around legislatures and not getting approvals and running these elections the way they ran them was a disgrace.
Now wait, y'all. Trump's just making all of this up in his head. Yeah. None of these are concerns. Going around legislators making stuff up, using the virus. And yet they're trying to tell us Trump knew he lost. Well, Trump's talking about making a change. I decided to make a change. That's what he's doing. I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. Make that change again for America. We almost done.
I got more votes than any sitting president in history by far, by millions.
I know.
And it's a very, very sad thing that happened to us.
So let me ask you, because you talk about what has happened in the past. I look at the GOP. You know, the head of the chair of the RNC tweeted on the day that you had the mugshot, her excitement for the convention to come to Houston in 2028. They're not. I mean, the GOP is not at their post. And
you down with GOP? Nah, not me. I'm telling you, man, boy, I tell you, I wish I had a bigger platform. I really do. The GOP, man, needs to get the fire lit up under their butt. So you tell me when Trump's indictment took place, that was what was on her mind? That was her tweet. We're excited about 2028 or whatever. Your whole tweet or whatever should have all been, this is a bunch of bullcrap. This is a bunch of garbage. This is an abuse of power. This must stop. That's what it should be. I don't want to hear nothing about anything else but this.
Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, the GOP has not been changing the things that happened last time in the election. They haven't shored those up. How do we ensure that we have a real election?
Thank you, Glenn. This is the question that all of us have. And if we feel like it's not legit, we done took it to the chin the one time. And all of us right now are banking on somehow, miraculously, the deep state finally gets defeated. I mean, they don't go too far when it comes down to trying to stop Trump. You would like to think they would have a governor. You would like to think that their corruption has a limit. You would like to think that their arrogance has some type of rationale to it, to where they say, no, that's too far. If we go so far as to remove this man off the ballots to stop him, we officially have destroyed the whole country. Never again will half or over half of the country ever believe that we have a legitimate republic. It is on the line. This right here, this election, is fighting for the very soul of America. That is it. This ain't one of those, well, you know, we'll get them next time. No, this is the election of all times when it comes down to the future of our country. Because I legitimately don't know what would happen if they did this, if they pulled this off. I cannot tell you how Americans would respond to this. All I can say is I would be in favor of a national divorce at that moment if they were able to remove Trump off the ballot in these states. Because the GOP is not doing anything to stop this. They ain't changing none of this.
The GOP won't do anything.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Look, I've been complaining they're not tough enough. The Democrats are dirty players. They lie. They cheat. What they did was unbelievable with ballots, with every conceivable form of cheating, and that includes, if you think, even the FBI. How about the FBI Twitter? FBI. Then you have the DOJ and Facebook, and you have all of these things that happen, and it was incredible what they did, and they used COVID to do it. But you know, I'll tell you, my two questions that I've asked most often is, the first is, how do you take it? How do you live? How do you take it? And I take it because I take it. You know, I mean, I sometimes say, do I have a choice? These people are crazy. But they say, how do you take it? The fact that there's such love of what we stand for, and what we stand for is a great economy, strong borders, all of it's going to come back. The hardest thing to cure is going to be the millions and millions of people that they allowed into our country.
Yeah.
So now you see what Trump has to do if he is elected. He has to restore faith in our institutions, which unfortunately, if he wins, the people who are still under Trump derangement syndrome is going to still think that it's illegitimate. So we can't worry about them at this moment. See, they're beyond help. They're going to whine and say it was stolen. They're going to say it was Russia. They're going to say we got to corrupt the president in the office, because they don't know the difference between corrupt and non-corrupt. If they can't see that the Biden administration is corrupt, if they can't see that all of the stuff that we done covered in my show tonight points to the fact that these are evil, powerful people who are working behind the curtain to control the outcome of our elections, control the way citizens think, control what people believe, what they can say, what they can do, where they can go, all of that stuff. If they can't see that, then they will never see it. So therefore, we cannot worry about their feelings at this moment. This is to protect the whole country, and we'll deal with that the way we have to. But what we can't do is say, well, let's just be easy and let these folks grow a conscience and do the right thing. Nope. This is that moment. We have to be extremely calculated and aggressive and fearless when it comes down to that, because Trump has to restore the faith in our institutions. He has to get rid of the corrupt institutions, and then he has to bring back an economy that was the bomb. Got to bring that back and restore that somehow after they done destroyed it. Then he has to reestablish relationships with other countries who have lost faith in America and all of the stupidity coming out of our leaders. All of these things are going to fall on this man's shoulders. And it's going to fall on our shoulders too, as we support the president if he wins this election, which he should, unless they cheat.
They allow millions of people, and Glenn, these are people from prisons, from jails, these are people from mental institutions.
Not to mention all of this.
You call them insane asylums, which is a step above. These are the people that they're allowing into our country, and they're a terrorist. There are terrorists coming into our country.
Thanks, Democrats.
And they're just walking in, and they're totally, nobody knows who they are, what they are, where they are. It's what they're doing to our country is either a death wish. They're not stupid, because anybody that could cheat that way in elections is not stupid.
Thank you. Which brings me to the closing point of our show. They're not stupid. They're evil. They're not incompetent. They're evil. All of the crap that we've witnessed these last 3 years that Biden has been installed, all of that mess that done crumbled when it comes down to gas and oil and energy and transportation and distribution and, our relationships with China and with dang on Russia and all of that. And Afghanistan debacle and the border blew out. None of that is because of incompetence. No, it's because these folks are evil. That's what it is. Nobody is that incompetent. They're evil.
What they are is, I believe they might hate our country. They have to.
You think they might? They might hate our
And
country.
how?
And who can want open borders?
Right.
Who
I know.
can want no voter ID?
Evil
You know,
people.
they have a thing for voter ID. They fight voter ID viciously. Why don't you want voter ID? Because you want to cheat. And if you think about it, they have to cheat. Because who's going to vote for open borders, high taxes, high interest rates, bad economy, weak military, a woke military, believe it or not. I defeated ISIS with our military. I did it in 4 weeks. I took out ISIS. I was told by certain generals and television generals it would take years. And I flew to Iraq, and I came back with some incredible information. And I knocked out ISIS in 4 weeks.
And that is why I believe that Trump could bring us back, because he gets things done. And if you remove the deep state and these corrupt actors out of the way, God knows how much we could get done. Yeah, you might have got him the first time, but the second time, no, my brother. No, my brother. Get them out the way and then get us back on track. So this man, in spite of how government has been operating all of these years with incompetency, with excuses, with it takes time, these things take time, bureaucracy. Trump got in and blew through all of that. ICE is gone, 4 weeks. Brought back all kind of jobs. Those jobs aren't coming back. I mean, yes, imagine one. All of a sudden they were back. So if anybody could do it, it would be Trump. Anybody less than him right now, I just don't believe it'll happen. So
our military is incredible. They don't get the credit. But then you see in Afghanistan, I was all forgetting. I'm the one that got the troops down.
I know.
But you have to keep Bagram, and you have to take our soldiers out last, not first. What they did is so horrible. And I believe it was the lowest point in the history of our country. What happened, the way they withdrew from Afghanistan was the lowest in the history of our country. But we'll bring it back.
Okay,
we're going to bring back the economy, and we're going to bring back the strong border.
We're going to bring back the economy, and we're going to bring back a strong border. We must do that. Those are America First policies. Bring back our economy, which also would mean that he has to have a relationship with other countries to make sure that these trade deals are responsible, that our dollar remains strong, that our allies remain strong, and not focus on all of the stupid stuff the Democrats want to focus on, like imperialism, globalism, spreading trans ideology, and all of that mess. That stuff does not make us strong. Okay, Trump is going to get back in if they don't cheat. Focus on rebuilding our military, establishing pride in our country, making sure we got a safe border. And I hope the folks in all of these Democrat-ran S-hole cities who are whining right now about what's going on with these illegal immigrants in their state and their cities and stuff, I hope they realize the importance of having a president that focuses on keeping our country safe. Make sure that those borders are safe. Make sure that our economy is booming, and let the babies cry. I hate to say it. Let the babies why. While their bank accounts are fat, while their jobs are secure, but let them cry. At this point, it's white noise to me. That's what it is. It's like your mom who sits you in that little bassinet and lets you go, and while she's over there knitting or rolling her hair or talking on the phone, she don't even recognize it no more. She knows that all you're doing is whine, whine, whine. So that's where we're at, y'all. Our country is on the line, and we're fighting for the soul of the country, the future of the country. This next election is that important. And all of these corrupt, evil people that I pointed out throughout tonight's show need to be held accountable. And also our raggedy behind Republicans need to be held accountable. They need the pressure of being challenged, of being rivaled, of being primaried, all of that mess. They need that pressure. A mic need to be in every one of their faces to get their opinion and their position on what's going on. Dang on it. That's why I said I need a bigger platform, because I would shove this mug up their nostrils. That's what I would do. So spread my videos. Follow me on all the other networks. That's right. Hit that like button. We got us 583 likes. Shama. Oh, glory. That's right. 583 likes. And 358 people watching, and probably would be more if the man would get off my back. And who knows, Trump win, we might even get a little pressure put on these fake behind platforms like this, who obviously is discriminating and censoring and suppressing conservative voices. Who knows where this can all go? So we'll see. Now, if you want to donate to my channel, you can do that through my Cash App and my PayPal. Thanks to all of those who gave in the super chat. Don't forget to text this number. All right. The number is 33. Oh, wow. Let me see something. I'm out of position over here. There we go. Yeah. 330-974-4607 and text MAGA. And then I will confirm that you're locked in. Might not be right away, so don't relax, but I will get to it because there's a lot of numbers in there. And then this way, when I go live or upload a standalone, you'll be able to know that something just hit. Okay. And what else I'm going to do? Oh, wow, I just realized I'm out of position on all of these. All right. So please do that for me if you haven't done that yet. If you are part of the old number, you can stay there. But like I said, honestly, I'd rather you just start moving over to the new number, the one that's up here. Okay. So if you already subscribe to that old number, you still might get a text here and there, but I don't like their setup, so I had to take matters into my own hands. All right, so please do that. And don't forget to subscribe to my alternative channel, which is Stop and Think About It. All right, and I want to thank Don for all that you do. I want to thank everybody for all the support that you give. It does not go on unnoticed, okay? And I will be chopping up clips from our live shows and uploading them as short standalones, starting with my section where I want that message to be sent to our Republicans about this election fraud up in Michigan. If you don't share anything, if you're on X, which is the old Twitter, when I upload that, take that clip and put it in Jim Jordan's box, put that mug in Marjorie Taylor's box, all of these people, just in case they ain't never heard about this. Maybe they don't know. Who knows? So please do that. It'll be uploaded tonight. God bless y'all. God bless America. We'll see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Man, let's get ready to bounce and get up out of this funky joint.
This is awesome.
Yeah. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.